Hello kids, we're going to do your little video for Pause University for Dr. Twigg Talks About Plants. So I'm Dr. Twigg and I'm going to talk with you about plants. It's a giveaway for the title, and I'm going to talk with you about some plants that I've got growing here in the greenhouse and some outside of it, and also those cool little UV beads that you got in your pack. Inside the greenhouse, but let's check out these beads now, right? So very kind of plain and white. Now keep that in mind because we'll come back to them in a little bit. So let's go out in the greenhouse and take a look at a couple of plants. So there's all kinds of stuff in the greenhouse. There's hoses, but we got all kinds of flowers. So we got these. You've probably seen these before, but the kind of cool thing about some of these, and you look at my finger, kind of cool thing about some of these is you look at the little petals on them, and if you count the petals on an individual flower, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's kind of cool. Keep that one in mind. You can see the same thing over here, right? You can count the 5. Now that's a type of, well, we usually call it a geranium, even though it's not really the name. Check this one out. This one is also a geranium, believe it or not, but again, look at the flower parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can even see you look really close on that structure in the middle. Get to focus. You can see 5 there too. But the even cooler thing about this is those little stripes. Now, if you were a bug, and I know you're not a bug, but if you were a bug, you would be able to see those stripes lit up like neon, you know, like glowing in the dark, because you could see UV light. And that also has to do with these little guys, which we'll talk about in a bit. Now, because you can't see UV light, they just look purple. But if you could, they'd be lit up like neon and guiding you to find the center of that flower where there would actually be food for you if you were a bug. But you'd also be pollinating the flower, which would be its real purpose, so that it would be able to make seeds. So there's those, but let me show you an even cooler flower up here, and then I'm going to show you 1 or 2 outside. So this flower doesn't look anything like the others, but also if you notice still though, look at the parts. 1, 2, 3. This one's got 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a different kind of flower. It's called an orchid. But if you look up inside again, you see those stripes up in that part? And even this little like landing pad down here. So if you were a bug, and my fans just came on, so pardon the noise. If you were a bug, again, you'd land right here and want to crawl up inside. And if you could see ultraviolet light, remember that from a minute ago, those stripes would again glow in the dark to sort of say, hey, there's food up here, which would again cause you to crawl up inside and help the plant make seeds. Now, if you bear with me just a minute, there's my bike. If you bear with me just for a minute, let's go outside and take a look at another flower. So now we're outside of the greenhouse, and we're going to check out these really cool milkweeds. So this kind of thing, if I look at it from a little further away, is called a milkweed. It's called the showy milkweed if you want to be complete. Its name is speciosa, which has to do with being showy. But this kind of plant is cool for a number of reasons. Now the bells are going to ring. I've got all kinds of noises. And you can see the leaves are, look at them close up. The leaves are hairy, soft, almost like you're petting a cat. And sometimes you'll even find other insects on here, which I don't see any right now. But this plant is cool because butterflies like to lay their eggs on it, and their caterpillars that come from the butterfly eggs will eat the plant and raise new butterflies, especially for a type of butterfly called a monarch. Now when you look at this one again, you can look at the flower parts. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's 5 again, right? Now those ones, notice they do have some color in there. Now if you were close here, you could smell them. These ones even smell good. The other ones that we were looking at didn't smell very much, but these ones smell good. Now if you happen to be around UNK and you want to stop by, these are right here outside of the greenhouse. There's where I live in the greenhouse. Well, it's where I work. I might as well live there. And then right here are those flowers, and there's all sorts of them right here. And they're really good looking right now, and they smell cool. So you check these out though. Again, look at the flower parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got, if you look for sometimes you can find the butterfly eggs and things on the underside of the leaves. I'm not seeing any right now. But the other cool thing, now that we're outside, that I can show you, remember those beads, and I've been trapping them in my hand the entire time. They're all clear inside. So now I'm outside and they're still clear, but look, almost as soon as I open my hand, they start changing colors. Like, what? They're not clear anymore, and that's the same 4 beads. What's going on? So to explain that to him, the longer I'm out here, look, they change more and more, and it's not even a very sunny day out, but they're reacting to being outside. I'm taking a quick look at some of these others. These are other versions of the same flower. This one's a little bit different, right? You can see an ant going there, and these ones do smell really good. But let's think about these guys, and I'm going to take you very quickly back inside the greenhouse. So here's the greenhouse. I got to get out my key. Well, I should edit this out, but I probably won't because I don't have time. Let's go back in here just for a second. So we're back where I live, and I want to show you a couple of things. You remember those beads? So there they are, but look, they're starting already to lose their color. So very quickly, what's happening has to do with types of light. So did you know that regular old white light, regular old light that you see, if you pass it through a prism, is actually made up of all different colors like a rainbow, and it's actually the same reason you see a rainbow when it rains, ranging from purple on one side to red on the other. And there's this little cool diagram up here that kind of shows what's going on, where the light passes through being white, but then it separates into red versus yellow and green and blue and purple. So you remember we mentioned before what was called UV, or ultraviolet light. You can even see me and reflected in my own computer there. The ultraviolet light is here next to this purple light. So it's a type of light that is detected by these beads. So you remember that a minute ago, and I get them back in my hand without throwing them all over the floor. There they go. They've already almost lost all of their color. They detect that type of light. And if they don't detect it, they're clear. To run back outside again real quick. But if they do detect it, they change color. What's happening is that there are pigments that make color. So pigments are just things that make color inside the bead, and when the ultraviolet light hits the pigment, it changes the color, it changes the shape of the molecule and makes it turn into a different color. As we said, bugs use that same, insects use that same type of light to be able to find food, and these beads detect the same thing. So that's actually probably the end of my little thing with plants. I hope you've enjoyed it and it wasn't too much nonsense, but check out the different types of light and think about that when you look at plants the next time. So bye-bye for now, folks.